Rays have had the Royals' number so far in 2018, going 5-0 and shutting down the KC offense in the process. Tonight, right-hander Ryan Stanek opens for the Rays, while Kansas City will counter with right-hander Jacob Junis. We welcome you tonight to Tropicana Field. This is Game 3 of a 7-game homestand and Game 3 of a 4-game series as the Rays play host to the Kansas City Royals. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. So good to have you with us. Well, the Rays have taken the first 2 games of this series. In fact, August has been a pretty good month for the Rays so far. They're now 4 games over 500, and while the pitching has done a lot of the heavy lifting, you cannot overlook the month of August had by the young shortstop Willy Adames.
How about this, Dwayne? At the end of play on July the 31st, Willy Adames was hitting 200. Well, guess what? Now that batting average up to 253 on the strength of a red-hot August. The last 3 weeks have been very kind to Willy, as you're going to see right here. An average of 356 on base, well over 400. Look at the slug at 610. 4 homers in the month of August. Only had 3 coming into the month. 10 runs batted in. And I'll tell you something, he's feasting on fastballs, middle to middle in, and anything off speed hanging out over. He's not letting get by.
Now that we've had the Adames report, let's turn to the pitching. It has been primo. You could say it's been dominant. And when we come back, Michelle Margot will have more on the red-hot Rays arms.
Just part of the Rays pitching staff that has been so dominant as of late. And I don't just mean the rotation or the guys at the back end of the bullpen. Really, collectively as a whole, they have been so dominant. Here is your Florida Lottery jackpot stat. In the last 11 games, Tampa Bay starters hold a 2.39 earned run average, and the Rays bullpen holds a 1.57 ERA. They have thrown 3 shutouts in those 11 games, totaling 96 strikeouts. Here is manager Kevin Cash on the recent success.
A lot of it is the confidence that these guys are gaining. Their experience getting on the mound, their experience in the different roles, there's becoming a comfort. And we've talked about no ego, just the buy-in, pitch until you're asked to come out of the game. And the guys are going out and they're executing their game plans that Kyle's giving them to the best of their abilities. When you do that, more times than not, you're going to see that you have success.
I think it's more of a respect thing. Like I said, I think everybody in that bullpen takes pride in coming in and helping other guys out, and that's the way it's been all year.
We got pitchers with really good stuff. They don't have a ton of experience, but we got guys that can have big arms, have great stuff, and if they're locating it and commanding the baseball, they're going to have big nights.
When we come back, Ryan Stanek hopes to continue the trend the Rays pitching staff has set. Tampa Bay has the chance to take the series in Game 3 against the Kansas City Royals. First pitch is just a few moments away. Dwayne Stath and Brian Anderson have the call after this.
The Rays have gone 4 games over 500 for the second time this year. And the opener tonight will be the right-hander Ryan Stanek. Out there for the 21st time in this role, 43rd time overall. He goes up against the Kansas City Royals, and here is the Kansas City starting lineup, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. They have Merrifield leading off with Merrifield, then Alex Gordon. Salvador Perez will at third. Lucas Duda at first base. Rosel Herrera's in right field. Ryan O'Hearn will be the DH with Hunter Dozier at third. Brett Phillips in the lineup. The local product out of Seminole in center field hitting eighth. And Alcides Escobar will be the shortstop and bat ninth.
Well, opening this one up for the Tampa Bay Rays is going to be Ryan Stanek, the right-hander, for the 21st time will undertake this role. The record 0-2, ERA 3.03, and work covering 29 2/3 innings. Let's take a look at the defense and see how it's going to line up here tonight. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. And in the outfield left to right, you've got Smith, Kiermaier, and Gomez. And across that infield third to first, we've got Duffy, Adames, Lau, and Crone with Michael Perez behind the plate.
And the skipper of this Kansas City ball club, Royals have lost 4 of 5, and they have dropped to 50 games under 500 at 38 and 88. So Ned Yost having a trying year here with Kansas City. And we are all set to play baseball. Merrifield stepping in, Ryan Stanek set to go. The first pitch of this game comes in too high. 1 ball, no strikes. Merrifield among the top 10 in the American League in hitting at 303. And right now, Merrifield, as this Kansas City ball club starts to look for a future over the next couple of years to rebuild, and he is a centerpiece right now.
Well, and you wonder, will he be a part of that rebuild?
Yeah,
Do
that's
they
a good question.
Flip him for, younger prospects? I mean, he certainly has put together a couple of seasons here back to back of swinging the bat extremely well.
Stanek out in front, 1-2. 10-game hitting streak for him.
And an interesting look that he gave right there. He got 2 fastballs down in the zone there from Stanek. Swung underneath both of them, kind of looking out there at the mound trying to figure out how in the world am I missing those. Now granted, they're 97, 98, but he was really not that close.
We'll take the count to 2-2.
That's a good fastball hitter too. I mean, he is short to the baseball, does not have a lot of excess movement in his swing, keeps things as simple as possible mechanically.
And he's reviewing all of that right now as he stepped out and then stepped back in.
I mean, those 2 swings and misses on the heater have really, got him thinking.
Way up with that one. The count is full, and you can see Merrifield choking up on the bat a little bit. And it's a full count. Yeah, he's trying to find his comfort zone.
Yeah, and, he choked up last night on Blake Snell, but not quite that much. That's even a little higher.
And it's pop foul coming straight back and out of play. Kansas City going 5-15 for the month of August, averaging a little over 3.5 runs a game. And this one is skied into right. Carlos Gomez backing up toward the line makes the play. That's out number 1 to start this one. Brings up Alex Gordon.
Stanek, he's already worked in this series against the Royals. That was on Monday night. Through an inning, gave up a couple of hits, no walks, no strikeouts. Did that all on 8 pitches.
And there's a pitch too high, 1 ball and no strikes. And we've seen the Rays do that on occasion with Stanek. He can be an opener and then available the next day to pitch late, or vice versa.
Yep. And I think you'll see that depending on how long they go with Diego Castillo.
as an opener? Does he get another open? You know, Hunter Wood, another guy that's not afraid to open up a game and pitch him in relief a day or two later. Got some versatility out in that bullpen. There's no doubt about that.
And the count down 2-1. Gordon had a base hit last night, 2 for 8 in the series. Over but too low at 97, and the count is 3-1. Salvador Perez on deck. Chopped foul, glove by Crone. The Rays have won all 5 games played between these two teams this year. Rays in Kansas City back in the middle of May and swept a 3-game series there. This one a 4-gamer at Tropicana Field, and they've taken the first 2 games, 1-0 and 4-1 last night. Fly ball into right field, so another full count, another fly ball handled by Gomez. 2 up and 2 down.
Well, that really, these 2 at-bats speaks to Stanek's fastball and how he can drive a 4-seamer through the zone as well as anybody. I mean, right there, it breaks the bat of Alex Gordon. Whit Merrifield had trouble figuring out the first 2 before he was able to finally fly out in a full count to right. You think about how good that pitch is, and then all of a sudden here comes the slider. Saw a couple splits there to Gordon.
Well, here's Perez, and he sends a fly ball into center field. Kiermaier tracking that one coming in, and a 1-2-3 first inning. When we go to the Rays half, Malik Smith will be stepping in to lead it off for the Rays. No score, Rays and the Royals. Take a look at the starting lineup put together by the Rays, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Alex followed by Matt Duffy and G-Man Choi, and they're hitting third, the DH, in front of C.J. Crone. Kevin Kiermaier's in center. Willie Adames is the shortstop, with Michael Perez, Carlos Gomez, and Brandon Lau filling out the 7, 8, and 9 spots.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Kansas City Royals going to be right-hander Jacob Junis, making his 24th start of the season. Record of 6-11, ERA of 4.76 and 132 in 3rd innings.
This pitch is a strike. Well, Malik starts the night in the top 10 in hitting in the American League at 302. Good enough for 9th. It's the pitch upstairs. It's 1-1. Got in on him a bit, and he pops it up. It's Merrifield over from second base handling that.
Let's take a look at that Kansas City defense. Set that up for you. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source in the outfield left to right. We've got Alex Gordon, Brett Phillips, and Rosel Herrera. Across the infield, third to first, Hunter Dozier, Alcides Escobar, Whit Merrifield, and Lucas Duda with Salvador Perez behind the plate.
Now Matt Duffy returning to the Rays lineup. Starting the evening hitting .291. Pitch up and he fouls it back. Strike one. 4 home runs and 32 runs batted in. Duffy getting the night off last night. He's had Joey Wendell in there at third last night. So a soft little liner. Pitch came in on him, and a liner handled by Merrifield. So 2 away.
You know, we're starting to see that a little bit more against Matt Duffy, who's been so good at using right field all season long and letting that ball travel deep into the zone, where more and more pitchers are starting to come in. And this ball comes in, he tries to wait on it, and by doing so, it ends up getting a little too deep and off the label of the bat instead of the barrel.
And here's Choi. Up and away. Choi's hit safely in 8 consecutive games now. That's a career high for him personally. And he shoots it into right center field. That's going to be in there for extra bases. He's going to get at least 2, and we'll stop there. Well, you had to think about 3 for a moment, but he decides to hang on with his 6th double as he continues his hitting streak, runs it to 9.
I'm disappointed, Dwayne. I had him for a triple. Choi, I'll tell you what, for a big guy, he can move. And this ball was rocketed out into right center field. I mean, no doubt extra base hit. But right here, I think he takes stock of the situation and says, I'm good right here. I know that my speed will get me in from second.
And he gives C.J. Cron a chance to drive him in. Choi out there at second now. Cron in the lineup last night with 2 hits. Finished the night 2 for 5 last night. Strike 1-1. Things have been better for Junis lately. He's 6-11 overall. Had a difficult first part of the year. Gets ahead of Cron 1-2.
Yeah, here's the problem. His last 3 starts, Wayne, an ERA of 2.20. His team's record is 0-3.
How about that?
Not much more that you could do. I mean, here you go. Last 3, 1-1-2 as far as earned runs go, and the Royals have lost all of those games.
Well, they are last in the league in runs scored, Kansas City, and Cron could not stop. Tried to check, went around. The Rays leave a man at second. No score at the end of an inning. WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Tampa Bay Rays. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Lucas Duda to begin the second inning. After the first one, and he pops it up. Duffy in pursuit. He's going to have room and puts it away. Pitch one out here by Stanek in the second. Stanek with a 14-pitch first inning. And there's Yoni Chirinos getting up in the bullpen. He figures to carry most of the innings load tonight. Rosel Herrera hitting from the left side. Now a strike. It's in there, nothing in two. Stanek, born in St. Louis, but has lived in Overland Park, Kansas, in the Kansas City area.
Love Overland Park.
Good spot.
It is a great spot. I played for them, ended up buying a home out there, and it was one of those when I left the Royals and really had no ties to that part of the country, kind of sad. I wanted to keep that house, but I'm like, I have no really reason to be out there. But Overland Park, Kansas is one of the hidden gems of the Midwest.
Yep. And so there are some folks at Overland Park interested in the opening performance by Ryan Stanek here tonight.
Well, he was good on Monday night. So far, so good here tonight. He's done a really nice job coming out of this role. Something he was thrown into, really Sergio Romo gets credit as being the original opener, back-to-back days in Anaheim, but then he immediately kind of slid to the back end of the bullpen, and Ryan Stanek picked up from there. What was this, the 21st open for him?
It is tonight.
I mean, he is really charged to the forefront of that role.
Foul out of play by O'Hearn.
I mean, think about this. He almost has as many starts as Blake Snell.
That's right.
He's closing in.
Blake made his 24th last night and picking up his 15th win of the year. Fouled out of play. O'Hearn homered in the 5th inning of the game last night. It's his 5th. And he is out on strikes. Overpowered right there. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 1, 2, 3. No score. Middle of 2.
Adames is on deck this inning, and if you remember a couple of weeks ago, he hit a walk-off home run using Jake Bauer's bat, and he has actually used the same bat ever since then until last night, guys. RIP to that bat. That bat was broken in his last at-bat of the game, and guys, his eyes were so big when he was telling me how concerned he was, but he used his own bat in that last at-bat after it was broken, and it was an infield single. So I think he's in the clear. And he said he ordered some of the same models for himself. He likes the way it feels around the handle. And until then, he claims he's going to steal another of Jake's. So I guess we'll see.
Well, if it's working, why change? He was 3 for 4 last night, so do what you have to do. And he's had a great month of August.
And how long ago was it that he had borrowed the bat?
Hey, there's a base hit by Kiermaier on the first pitch. Kiermaier had a hit last night coming off the 3 hits here on Monday. And it's good to see Kiermaier collect a few hits.
Well, here's the thing. I think that the bat order for Willy Adames should have been put in shortly after that walk. They'd have been here by now. You wouldn't have to steal another one before they come in. That was August the 7th. So we're talking a couple of weeks. Unless they're walking him here.
Adames, a one-hopper to short. Escobar goes over to Merrifield, and the throw to first. Not in time. Adames hustling down the line. Beat the play at first base.
Boy, everything taking a little bit too long here. Thought this was going to be pretty easy. Good feed, and then Merrifield. I think Merrifield just a tick slow there, and it was still close, and the Royals may want to take a look at that.
Yeah, they do. They want to take a look.
Yeah, they're going to get it overturned.
So we'll take a look at this, and
yeah, you would assume that this is going to be pretty short. That was pretty clear. But you saw that feed out there from Escobar to Merrifield. Merrifield got it and really didn't have that normal sense of urgency that you see. But Willy Adames is conceding already, too. He saw the replay and knows that he was out. Even though they probably told him,
yeah.
no, you take a knee and stay out on the field.
Hang right there for a minute or two and let them make the call. Yeah, they're about ready to do. So it's going to be a 6-4-3 double play. Adames hustling down the line, but the throw just beat him.
Here it is. He's reaching out. That ball right in there before that foot comes down.
Now Michael Perez, which is outside, 1-0. That's a liner into center, and that's going to fall for a base hit. Boy, another nice stroke there by Perez. And he sends it right back into center on a line. He continues to be impressive with the bat and with his work behind the plate. He has been a welcome addition to the Rays, Michael Perez. Now it's Carlos Gomez. Well, the Rays have been hit by more pitches than any other team in the league, 78 times. And Carlos Gomez has been hit by a pitch 20 times this year. It's a pitch away, 1-0. 3 hits in the early going off Junis, but a double play. Here's that leaderboard. Brandon Guyer, of course, the franchise leader a couple of years with 24. And Gomez giving him a little pressure right now on that list.
Well, Gomez gets right up on top of the plate, gets pitched in an awful lot because he's one of those hitters, a lot of power, wants to get his arms extended, and he doesn't give up a whole lot of ground. I mean, he starts to dive into the plate, and those balls that are running in, he is not bailing too often.
2-1. The Rays, counting this one, have 36 games left. If he's going to set the club record, he might have to get right up on top of that plate.
He's got a good chance. He's got a real good chance. See that back foot, and then that front foot's going to come closed as he gets into the hitting position.
Hot shot, and that's by third up the left field line. Perez hitting third. They're going to put the stop sign up for him there on the double by Gomez. It's second and third now. 15th double of the year for Carlos Gomez.
Right now, Jacob Junis not missing a whole lot of barrels. And this ball right here running down and in, and he just drops the head right on it and shoots it into the corner. No chance for Dozier to make a play on this, just by him.
Perez moving to third. 113 off the bat. That ball hard. Hard enough to get it by Dozier. The pitch to Lau is a ball low. Brandon Lau 3 for 33 right now, and up here with a chance to do some damage. Ground ball, that's going to sneak through into center. Base hit. Perez scores. Here comes Gomez, and the Rays lead 2-0. Lau found the right spot for that one and got it right through the middle into center.
Well, all of this with 2 outs, breaking ball, and that's all you got to do is find a hole. He gets it by Junis. Nobody out there to make a play. Everybody running and jump out in front once again.
Well, the guy who could have made a play on that was Scott Berry, and he didn't have a glove, the second base umpire. Over to first, Lau back in. Malik Smith up now. Takes it a little close. Ground ball to short. Escobar will make this throw, and it's picked up by Duda. So the Rays are finished. They pick up 2 runs. The end of 2-0. By your Southern Chevy dealers. By Eldorado Furniture, a different kind of furniture store for over 50 years. And by your local Ford dealers. Rays have jumped to a 2-0 lead as we go to the third inning. Yonny Chirinos will take over. 2 innings for the opener, Ryan Stanek, and 2 excellent innings at that. Couple of strikeouts. And now Chirinos on for the 12th time.
On the ERA of 3.96, 52 in the third innings. And you think about that job by Ryan Stanek, getting the Rays off to a great start once again.
Strike call to Dozier.
Get a completely different look here from Chirinos. A lot of sinkers. Right-handers will see more sliders. Left-handers will see more splits.
He comes in with the fastball tight. It's a foul ball, 0-2.
You know, the other thing that's nice is Chirinos, you know, since coming back has been stretched out. His last 3 outings have all gone at least 5 innings through 88 pitches in his last outing against the Red Sox.
Chopper foul.
That's how the Rays have set it up. And Kevin Cash, if everything goes according to plan, you get Ryan Stanek out there as the opener. He gives you 2 strong, and then you can, you know, Chirinos, if he can give you 5, that's great. Then you turn it over to the back end, set up, close based on matchups, and ball game.
Fastball up is fouled back.
You're starting to see that formula emerge, you know, between the openers of Wood and Stanek and maybe even Castillo, but then the second guy's in. You got Yarbrough and Beeks and Chirinos. They're almost on an every 5-day starter type rotation.
Well, you know, and here's the interesting thing. You hear, as we both have going around the league, with this whole idea of the opener, and they say, well, you don't have enough starting pitching, so you're using guys out of the bullpen to open. But the guys you just mentioned could be starting pitchers in the traditional sense.
Yep.
You could go out there expecting them to go 5 or 6 innings.
And they have. That's the type, you know, Yarbrough's been a starter. Beeks has been a starter. Yonny Chirinos has been a starter. It's just playing that matchup game early on to then lessen the load on the guys coming in after.
The cut and a miss, and Dozier's out on strikes. Chirinos disposes of the first hitter he faces. So in that sense, you know, if you're not around it a lot, you don't see what's going on, and the knee-jerk reaction is to say, well, it's a move out of desperation. Well, that's not really true, because you've got some guys who could start here if you wanted to start them, and it would be business as usual. But there's a reason they're doing this, and it's a different approach. So there's some strategy in what they're attempting to do.
Well, we saw it on the road trip where, you know, you would have a couple of the guys in the opposing team's lineup that their first 3 at-bats would be against 3 different pitchers, and more than likely 3 different styles of pitcher. And so you put a lot of pressure on the hitters, and, you know, the Rays pitching staff have appeared to buy in. You know, no complaints. Guys are taking the ball and going out and doing what they're asked, and they're doing it very well right now.
Brett Phillips up here, the young man out of Seminole. 1 out, nobody on, 1-2 the count. And that will be strike 3 call. Back-to-back strikeouts by Chirinos here.
A good split right there. The change of speed is what really locked up Phillips. This pitch does stay out over the plate, but the good arm speed, and he just cannot pull the trigger. It floats right over.
So 2 up, 2 down, and now Alcides Escobar. Hitting .212 on the year, but in the last 10 games, over 300. Fouls it, strike 1. He's taking the lead with a couple runs in the second inning. Perez started that with a 2-out single after the double play ball.
It happened quick.
Brandon Lau driving in both runs.
Yep. waste a whole lot of time, and we've seen the Rays do that a couple of times here recently. You know, 2 outs, nobody on, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 they put something together and they've got runs on the board. Huge in a series like this. You always want to jump out in front no matter what. And then the other team has really been struggling to score runs, and your pitching staff has been lights out. Now it's about adding on.
Count holds at 2 strikes with the foul ball.
Royals lineup, not a lot of home runs. They have tried to create more since the All-Star break, doing some more running, putting guys in motion.
The high popper foul. Perez back, but it's going to be well out of play. Holds the count at 2 strikes. Escobar started at second base last night. Been their shortstop every day. He's played a number of spots this year. Still primarily shortstop, 1 and 2. Kansas City looking for some answers, trying to develop some young players.
And you wonder really at the end of the day how many of them are here right now. That's what they're trying to figure out. Ned Yost and the front office giving a lot of different guys playing time. They had that a few years ago, that excellent run. World Championship.
Chopper foul. Escobar 2 hits in last night's game, had a hit in the first game. That's part of that good offensive run he's been on over the last close to 2 weeks now. Oh, he's been an aggressive hitter up there and fouls another one. Doesn't walk much. Well, you remember that club when they were hitting on all cylinders, how they would just take the game right to you. First pitch, they were ready to play, revved and ready to go.
Very athletic, very aggressive. They played 6-inning games because they had a bullpen that would shorten it.
Yep. Here's Duffy making the throw in time to get Escobar. 1, 2, 3, and the third. Rays lead 2-0. Geico, great moment on this day in 2014. Drew Smiley, 4 starters array, turns in a 2-hit complete game shutout. First complete game of his pro career. Facing 1 hitter over the minimum. retiring the final 19 hitters in order. No walks and 105 pitches. Pitch to Matt Duffy is a strike to begin the bottom of the third. Drew Smiley undergoing Tommy John surgery and recovering from that. 0-2 count on Duffy. Choi next, and then Crone. And he chases that pitch. Just sliding right away from him.
Whose slider did that look like? I mean, that was a spitting image of a Chaz Rowe slider. I mean, just took off.
Look at this.
I mean, off the end of the bat by a few inches.
Well, there are times when Junis will go heavy with that pitch, and you can see why.
Yeah, I would too.
I mean, when you break down, he's not going to throw it the majority of the time, but he'll throw it the plurality of the time with all of his pitches. Choi taking a strike. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. One. Side. 2 balls and a strike. Two. Breaking stuff there. Joey with a 9-game hitting streak now, with the double in the first inning tonight. Down and in, and we're going to have a full count. Ground ball sharply hit down to first. He finally got something straight and hit it hard, and Duda made the play unassisted.
I'll tell you, G-Man Choi has a knack for being able to get the barrel to the baseball. Even on the out right there, like you said, hit that ball hard. If they don't have the shift on, that's an extra base hit up the right field line. But because of the shift, you got Duda standing basically on the line, and it's right at him. But Gapper in his first at bat, and a hard hit ball down the line in his second.
C.J. Crone takes ball one. Crone to strike out his first time. Home run total on the year up to 24 now. It's this ball hard on a line, and Escobar, boy, had him a little apprehensive with that ball. 2-0 Rays lead through 3. Chevy Prospect Spotlight tonight for the Rays. Brett Sullivan doing some catching at Double-A. Montgomery for the Biscuits, 2 for 4 with a home run last night. And for the year, hitting .253, but hot right now with a 6-game hitting streak. And he's a guy who had played some third base. The Rays had moved him to behind the plate. And he's made some steady progress as a catcher. One strike to count here on Merrifield to begin the 4th. It's a wave and a miss. 0-2.
You know, we were talking before the game, and the 7 affiliates associated with the Tampa Bay Ray organization, minor league affiliates, 6 of the 7 are in first place, and they all have winning records.
Yep.
But how about that? 6 of the 7 in first place. I mean, that really, I can't remember an organization top to bottom having something like that. Really seems unprecedented.
Yeah, and the evaluators, and I'm not really sure how many of them there are, who rate minor league systems, have really kind of fallen in love with the Rays minor league systems. I think the last one I saw, they were ranked 2nd among organizations in the minor leagues now with talent. And you can believe it. You check these updates every night we get, and then take a look at some of the rosters down there and what they've done. It's been a great combination. You're starting to see the good pitching that you come to expect out of the Rays organization, but you're also seeing some offense. I mean, they're scoring a lot of runs and some athleticism, people who can run the bases and steal bases, and some extra base pop as well. So it's turning out to be a well-balanced minor league system, and they're winning.
That for me is the key. You know, you're going to have good players, and you know, a lot of times in the minor leagues you got a couple of good players and they play on a mediocre team or not a very good team. But the fact that you have all of the production down there on both sides, pitching and hitting, but you're winning too. They're learning how to win.
There's a long one deep down the left side, and it hits the pole. A home run for Merrifield to make it a 2-1 game. Merrifield, a towering shot down the left field line for a home run. That's his 9th of the year. And he extends his hitting streak to 11 with that home run.
Well, that was the question. Will it stay fair? The split, it hung, and it hung dropping basically down and in. And there's the lift.
And now foul ball back by Gordon. Well, that ball towering down the left field line. And just fair. He checked in time. Gordon, it's 1-1. Take the count to 1-2 on the check swing foul ball. So the home run, the first hit of the night for Kansas City, and they're on the board with that. Into right field, Gomez is there to make the catch with the first out. Gomez appeared to have a little bit of a challenge to track that one all the way, and I'm not sure if he found himself looking into the lights or what it was, but that was not absolutely routine.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely what happened. You could see after he caught it and threw it back in, he looked back up and kind of had a squint.
It stays in to Perez. Salvador Perez with 21 home runs on the year. One and one. 1-2. 2-1 ball game. The Rays have out hit Kansas City 5-1. It's a 2-2 count. Kansas City scored a run last night on the Ryan O'Hearn home run in that 4-1 final. The Rays won the first game of this series on Monday, 1-0. So the Royals have scored 2 runs in this series, solo home runs. Tap back toward the screen. Broken bat and a looper to short. Adames retreating a few steps into the outfield. And that's the second out. Base is empty, 2 gone. Whether you're having a day out with the office or fun with friends, group tickets the best way for your team to cheer on the Rays. Host your next company outing at Tropicana Field in an exclusive field level party area, or entertain clients in an executive suite. Visit RaysBaseball.com/groups today. Lucas Duda. Down and in, 1 ball, no strikes. Last time out for Chirinos was at Fenway on Friday. It was a 7-3 Boston win. And he took the loss working 6 innings after Stanek had worked the first inning. Duda lifts it to the left side. Lone man over there, Duffy on the infield, and now Malik Smith is there, and Malik makes the catch coming in from left. A run on the home run. It's 2-1 Rays. Price for $49.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game. Plus, get a free subscription to MLB Advanced Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this special offer. Kevin Kiermaier had a base hit his first time. Kiermaier now with 5 hits in this series takes the ball. Adames will be next, and then Perez. facing Jacob Junis, 25-year-old right-hander. He missed some time in July with lower back issues.
Yeah, what has really hurt his season is the long ball. 26 home runs given up.
Now he's behind Kiermaier.
Think about an equal opportunity offender too. Right-handers have hit 15, left-handers have hit 11.
Strike 3-1. We'll take the count full.
Boy, what a tough pitch. A 3-1 curveball that you're going to start off the plate away to get back into the count.
And a liner, base hit toward right center field. Kiermaier is on his way for an extra base hit here as he heads into second with a double, and he is 2 for 2. Kiermaier back up in the lineup a bit tonight, and he continues to respond.
Yeah, you make the big pitch 3-1 to get back in, and then you make the big mistake right down the middle. And Kiermaier, I'll tell you, anytime he gets a ball into the outfield, he's always thinking at least 2. Pretty easy.
Well, there's Willie Adames. Adames doing the bunt. It's a strike.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is we saw Willie do this, a couple of games ago. The way that he's been swinging the bat, nobody out, runner on second, swing the bat. I mean, you're tearing it up.
Having a great month.
I mean, you're hitting over 350. You've got the lead. I mean, swing it.
And he fouls it back. 2, that pitch up in the zone.
Oh, and now you've put yourself in a position where Junis, you've got to believe he's going to go with that sweeping slider at least the next couple of pitches. Try to pick up the strikeout and not even allow Adames to move Kiermaier, let alone get him in.
And that pitch in the dirt, but he went around and is out on strikes. Tried to get that bat back, but he'd gone after it.
Well, it's the intent, and the intent, he starts going, and you can see clearly too far on that ball in the dirt, and one of those at-bats that the youngster Adames would love to have bat.
One away in the inning. Michael Perez will have an opportunity to get the run home from second. Lined a base hit into center in the second inning, and that started the Rays with 2 outs on their road to a couple runs. 1 ball, no strikes. And another thing, not one thing, but another thing about Perez, he's done consistently well, and that's have good at bats. Nice job behind the plate, and good balanced at bats up there most of the time. 2-0.
I think you come to that realization that this is your shot. You've got a chance to establish yourself as a big part of this team moving forward, a team that looks to be on the rise, trending up, and you get a chance to be a part of it. And so you bring a certain mindset each and every day where you really lock it in, pay attention to detail, be prepared when you go to the plate, when you're working behind the plate.
Strike, 2-1.
I mean, when was the last time that you really saw Michael Perez a little lax mentally or not prepared?
I don't think we've seen it.
No. I mean, he really is understanding the situation and making sure that when I'm out there, I'm tuned in.
Now the count's going to go to 2-2. Pitch moving in on him.
He could sweep that thing a long way. We saw it earlier on the strikeout at Duffy. That ball ended up, 6-8 inches off the end of his bat, and that one almost wrapped itself behind Perez.
Ground ball back of first, bobbled there by Duda. He's still going to have time to get the out, and over to third goes Kiermaier. And again, because he was near the line back of first, Duda was able to make the stop on that ball.
You think about the shift and all those guys on one side of the infield. Well, what that allows you to do is roll your first baseman close to the line. We saw it victimize G-Man Choi, and now it gets Michael Perez.
2 outs with Kiermaier at third. Carlos Gomez. Gomez doubled and scored in the second inning. Sweeping way wide. He's trying not to waste a leadoff double. Two runs, 6 hits. Both runs came in the second inning when they bunched 4 hits together. 2-0. Check swing roller outside of first.
That was almost a check swing double.
That's exactly right.
Oh, wow. This time you've got Duda pulled well off the bag, not expecting anything up the first base line, and why would you? You see him right there, but that little check swing, and it came awfully close.
He did go on the appeal. Lipka down at first. Says Gomez offered. And he did. So it's 2-2. And he is out on strikes. Missed that one as it swept away from him. We will head into the 5th. It's 2-1 Rays.
here at Tropicana Field against the Royals. Well, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, Daniel Robertson visited a teenager in a local hospital, Joey Johnston, and now the Tampa Bay community is all rallying for him. The Tampa Bay Sports Commission, along with the Buccaneers, Lightning, Rays, Rowdies, and USF are all teaming up to host a 2-week community-wide Team Tampa Bay for Joey J 50-50 raffle, which will assist with the financial medical needs of the 15-year-old. Johnston was in a tragic accident on July 8th. And if you want to participate, the raffle concludes Monday, so go to Team Tampa Bay for JoeyJ.com to support the cause, guys.
All right, thank you, Joey Johnston Jr. Showing great courage there, and Daniel Robertson wearing the wristband there, promoting that cause. And O'Hearn takes a strike. A hard-hit line drive by Rosell Herrera, but Adames had him played perfectly right up the middle. The shift is on for O'Hearn. It's 1-1. Rays scored 2 runs in the second inning. Kansas City got a run in the fourth. It's 2-1 as we play in the fifth. 2 balls and a strike.
I want to know what Michael Perez has in his glove. I mean, the crack that he gets in receiving the baseball. He got an 86-mile-an-hour split there that sounded like a gunshot. That makes you feel good out there on the mound.
Pumps you up a little bit.
It does. Gives you a little, maybe a little false confidence, but sure sounds cool.
This one is stroked into right center field. Boy, he found the opening. O'Hearn will get an extra base here on this one. He'll decide to stop as he hits second base. And he picks up his first double. He'd had 5 home runs since joining Kansas City, and now has a double.
Yeah, and you remember the home run was out to left center field, and that's where you're going to see Kevin Kiermaier shading. Watch the hustle in getting this ball hit out into right center. He realizes I have got to get there in a hurry to keep O'Hearn at second base, and hustling all the way out there, getting that ball in quickly. He does just that. That's good coverage right there by the Rays center fielder.
Hunter Dozier. Dozier takes a strike. Well located. Dozier today's 27th birthday. Played the corners and the outfield at third base tonight for Kansas City. Who knows? Falling off with that delivery and missing the pitch down. The end of the dirt, and that's going to skip by Perez, sending O'Hearn over to third.
And that may be the first time that we've seen a ball get by Perez where he tried to pick it instead of block it. And it's because it's a fastball. Not expecting that ball in the dirt. You can see how he comes up with the attempt at the backhand. Great job always of anticipating off speed in the dirt. Not that time with the heater. And it squirted by him.
Well, it's going to force the infield to come up as they shift it on the left side with Dozier at the plate. A foul ball off a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. 2-2 now.
Almost wish that he would have put that into play, because that would have been right into the teeth of that defense. A little chopper. But now you at least have the added luxury of trying to put him away. Try to close up the holes as best you can on that left side.
Two balls, 2 strikes. One ball, that'll be foul. toward the bullpen. Rays grabbed the lead with a 2-run second. Kansas City scored in the 4th. They threatened in the 5th. And a cut to miss. That fastball with a little extra on it, running outside, and at 96, a strikeout, a big one for Chirinos.
And when you get fastballs that are, in the mid to upper 90s, if you do not show strike zone discipline, you're going to be in big trouble, because this pitch well off the plate away.
Here's Brett Phillips. Rays shift him to the right side. Fastball, big cut and a miss, strike one. Chirinos faced Phillips in the 3rd inning. He was the second man he faced, and got him looking, got ahead of him 1-2, and then got him looking at a split or a called 3rd strike. Fastball inside, 1-1. Chirinos trying to pitch around the double and the wild pitch. Ground ball down to first. Thrown unassisted to retire the side. No runs, a hit. Man left at third base. Bottom of the 5th coming. 2-1 Rays. Tonight, visit CanesStrikeout.com for a printed home voucher to take to Canes Furniture within 7 days and receive a coupon for 2 free tacos and chips at participating area Tijuana Flats locations. Restrictions apply. Brandon Lau drove in 2 runs with a base hit his first time, and he takes the pitch upstairs. Will be followed by the top of the order, Malik Smith, and then Matt Duffy. Let's go, 1-1. Ground ball right side. Merrifield is there to take care of that on the shift.
Well, let's take a look at a scouting report on Mallex Smith as he strolls to the plate. And how about this? Summer slugging. Since July the 1st, Mallex Smith coming into play tonight had raised his batting average from 266 to 302 on the strength of a 374 average and 455 on base the last couple of months, and at least 2. And that's how many hits he's had in 5 of his last 6 games.
Well, there's no wonder the finish is coming off the barrel of that bat, as we spotted the other day, and he's using that same bat. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the contact point right there.
It is when you're hitting 374.
Well, it reminds me of a story that Frank Howard, Hondo, who had such a great career with the Dodgers and the Washington Senators, was a coach here with the Rays, about Hank Aaron. He said he watched him hit one day with his bat. And he was just amazed because he had power to all fields and made great contact on every pitch. And he said, you know, most hitters are going to break 10 or 15 bats a year. And he said he asked Hank Aaron how many he broke. And he told him, he said, I don't break bats, I wear them out. And this pitch down the left side, and that's a nice catch on the bullpen mound there by Gordon. And you can imagine that Hammer and Hank had that same kind of barrel of the bat there with the finish well depleted. Here's a look at that catch.
Well, listen, 5-time Gold Glove winner, and he's able to navigate the mounds down there in foul territory. That's not easy to do, and he made that look very easy.
Alex victimized by that Gold Glove out there.
Can certainly appreciate how difficult it is. But yeah, I mean, listen, Hank Aaron, I mean, what was the final number? 7, however many. I mean, a ridiculous amount of home runs and wearing out bats like that. The guy had the power, the hand-eye coordination. The thing that's interesting about him is he was never a guy hitting 60. Hey, he'd hit 35, 40 every year forever. I mean, just the consistency of putting up such big years.
And he could almost, you know, well, he got to Atlanta and he'd pull the ball more, but he'd hit the ball all over the place. And if he wanted to hit the ball to right field, he was very adept at doing that. And line drive, I mean, he took charge of a ball off the bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count to Matt Duffy. Back into the screen. 2 outs here with the bases empty. Another foul ball out of play.
I love the way the game was when he hit the home run that gave him the record, and the fans flocking around and hugging him between second and third and coming around. Different time back then.
Oh, absolutely different time. There's a fly ball lifted into left center field. Got a chance to drop and will. Over there to play it on one big hop is Gordon to hold Duffy to a single. You know, well, let's go back to the era of which you speak. A little flashback. Hank Aaron right here. Val Downing. That's grabbing the all-time home run lead there. And the party begins.
Come on.
You know, that was 7:15 there. He finished with 7:55. It's a shot foul up the right side off the bat of Ji-Man Choi. He actually hit a home run. He hit at least 756, but he hit a home run off Cardinal left-hander Kurt Simmons, and he stepped out of the batter's box hitting it and was called out. So that 755 easily could have been 756, but he was called out after stepping out of the box en route to hitting that pitch.
You know, I've read a couple of different articles. One in particular stands out about the history of this game going way back. And all of the different ways the game was scored. You know, walks were counted as hits.
Yep, that's
back in the day. I mean, we could go on this talk forever. But you had the same kind of situation where Babe Ruth was credited with an extra home run, but no one wanted it.
Yeah.
Because the number was so iconic on the landscape of baseball that everybody raised, what do you mean you're giving him another one?
Yeah,
That's not the number.
You couldn't change. Just like the conversation we had the other day about tape measure home runs.
Oh, yes, right.
Okay, well, fine. It's good. It's good copy.
502 will be the longest home run hit at Fenway
ever.
For the rest of time.
Yeah.
No matter what StatCast AI says.
If you're Manny Ramirez, you get 501.
Right.
Not 502 or 503. You get 501 foot. Runner goes. The pitch is a ball. Throw down. That's not going to be in time. It's stolen base for Duffy. Well, Matt Duffy picks up his 9th stolen base. And he's in scoring position now with 2 outs. In scoring position for Choi.
Boy, he got a great jump there on Junis, and that's what allowed him to sneak in there ahead of the throw by Perez. Ran on a breaking ball too, but how about Perez, the job he did going down to get it and getting it to second base as quickly as he could. He just wasn't given much of a chance.
Trying to think of the name of the umpire who called him out. And I'm not sure, but it was in that era when you had Chris Pellicudis and Augie Donatelli. Those guys were umpires back then in the 60s.
They sound like chefs.
We're going to have to get.
I just got hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a great meal. You get a little Greek food and a little Italian food at the same time.
Augie Donatelli. I mean, if I could. Oh.
Yeah. To be Pellicudis and Donatelli's.
That would be a good restaurant.
Runner at second base is Matt Duffy. Pitch is down. The count is full. 3-2. On deck, C.J. Cron. Well, the Rays with a couple runs in the second, a run in the fourth for Kansas City. That's been it. I am informed that it was, in fact, Pellicudis.
Look at that.
Belated swing right there to stay alive on the foul ball.
What was, in the off chance that you remember, what was the reaction of Hank Aaron after being called out after you go yard? Couldn't have been good.
No, it can't be good.
No.
You know, they show you your footprints and all that, but it's still, really? You're going, I just hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Right.
Ground ball, this time it's fair, and a diving stop. Duda is not going to be able to go anywhere, and a base hit as it turns out. Duffy goes to third.
You know what, Dwayne? You're right. Duda's not going to be able to make that play. That's on Jacob Junis getting off the mound. And after he got over there and realized he didn't get there in time, he put both hands over his head. A little bit of a delay here. And now he goes. Too late.
Yeah, I think Junis thought the ball was going to be up the right field line for a double.
Well, you can't assume. That's the thing. Yeah, that you are taught that in spring training. You're taught that from the time that you're a kid. Ground ball to the right side, you automatically break. It becomes part of your instinct. You can always pull up if it's down the line and then go back and do what you got to do, but that initial break has to be there.
Well, now the Rays trying to make them pay for that. Here's C.J. Cron. And a little popper. That's going to be caught by Duda to retire the side. Rays do not score. They leave 2 and lead 2-1. And this is how we got here. Base hit up the middle by Brandon Lau, scored Perez and Gomez in the 2nd inning. And Whit Merrifield hit one down the line that hit the pole for a home run. And that's it. 2-1 the score as we head into the 6th inning. And in the 6th, Alcides Escobar will lead off against Yanni Chirinos. Ground ball in the hole. Adames with a nice play right there. He gets his man. Nice pickup and a good strong throw to first to get Escobar.
Well, he was able to get his feet underneath him and get into this throw with the lower half. Instead of rushing it, he goes, gathers, a good crow hop, and there you go. Unleash it.
Well, here is Merrifield. You ask about Aaron's reaction. The one reaction, Rick Odioso, who confirmed that it was Chris Pellicutis who made that call. He's also done some work. And I guess the biggest reaction came from Bob Uecker, who in his career was a catcher for both the Cardinals and the Braves in his career. And he said it was the worst call he'd ever seen. This pitch is fouled out of play by Merrifield. Adam Kolarek up in the bullpen now for the Rays. Ball, 2 strikes. This one is wide, 2-2. Now we're getting a little clarification on that from Rick. Uecker was the guy who pointed out to the umpire to look at Aaron's foot. So he's the guy who precipitated all that, and then Aaron thought it was the worst call he'd ever seen. You can understand that. There's a foul ball out of play. It's still a 2-2 count on Merrifield.
Sold him out.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, you know, if you're the opposing
catcher, yeah.
Yeah, you got to do that. Say, look where he's stepped.
Well, he could have had one more. Merrifield shoots it foul up the right side.
I guess it was that attention to detail that took Euchre up to the booth then.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. 755, could have had 756. 305 lifetime average. He could steal a base. 3-time Gold Glove. And you know, here's the other thing. When he came up with the Braves, if it hadn't been for Billy Bruton, who played center field, he was a great center fielder. Aaron would have been a center fielder, but they had a premier guy in center playing already, so he could have played center. It's a foul ball back. Away. Base is empty. Chirinos and Merrifield the matchup right now. And a cut and a miss. Merrifield is out on strikes. 2 up, 2 down. Strikeout for Chirinos. 4 strikeouts for Chirinos now.
You know, and what kind of gets lost in the way that Chirinos, you talk about his movement all the time, ability to get ground balls, the good split. You forget the kind of velocity that he can get up there. 95, 96 can overpower you from time to time.
Well, Gordon takes it into center, and Kiermaier's right there to handle that. A 1, 2, 3, 6th inning. Through 5 1/2, 2-1 Rays. Two to 1 lead. Kevin Kiermaier is going to lead it off. Rays winners last night 4-1, and they got 6 very good innings again out of Blake Snell, who picked up his 15th win of the year to go to 15-5. Starting to hear some discussion about Blake Snell's name being tossed into the hat in regard to the Cy Young voting. That's going to be interesting to watch and see how that happens with Blake Snell.
I guess it depends ultimately on what you value as a statistic, a series of statistics, what you're going to go by. What you do know about Blake is 24 starts in. He's what, 15-5?
Yep.
Big game yesterday. 15-5, an ERA that's just a hair over 2.
This is a popper. Will it stay playable? Ball in the front row, and a difficult time for Dozier to get over there, so it's a foul ball. You know, the Cy Young balloting, it's pretty complicated. When you historically look at the pitchers who've been in the hunt for that and the pitchers who've won, I mean, one of the things that you think about, and Blake has had a great year. You know, you go 15-5 to this point and finish strong. Kiermaier's out on strikes. Innings pitched is going to be a big thing, I think. You know, and if things go the way you expect, Blake's going to have somewhere, give or take, probably 185 innings this year. Is that going to be enough?
I mean, he's got 139 now.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Okay, so that you hear a lot of people talk about WAR, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about WAR.
A determining column in value.
Well, Blake Snell in the American League, starting pitchers, is 10th in WAR.
Wow.
He's behind Mike Clevenger. Indians have 3 pitchers that have higher WAR than Blake Snell. Corey Kluber, Carlos Carrasco, Mike Clevenger.
How about that?
How about that?
Wow.
So that's what WAR gets you. You get you 10th. 15-5 with the 207 and 10.3, 10.4 strikeouts per 9 innings get you 10th in WAR. So, and yeah, there's a lot of people that value WAR and will vote according to WAR. Now Chris Sale, similar, you know, win-loss record. He's 12-4. He's thrown 7 more innings than Blake. He's got an ERA that's a 1/10 of a point lower at 1.97. His WAR more than double Blake's.
And you know, right now, Sales spent a little time on the DL, second time. So his innings pitch total at the end of the year not going to be that much more than Blake. So if innings turn out to be a big factor, and when you look, take the relievers the few who've won a Cy Young, take those guys out. Starters, the mean for innings pitched is 259 among Cy Young Award winners. 259 innings.
Yeah, that's something you're not going to see anymore.
Yeah, you're not going to see that. So, but if that's going to be close to a determining factor, Sale's not going to have many more. I mean, they're going to be close in innings pitched, these two guys.
Yeah, I'm just saying, as of right now, with you know, the numbers being very similar across the board, how in the world does Chris Sale have a WAR of 6.1 where Blake has 3.0? Because again, only reason I say that, I don't understand WAR. I've never seen the formula, but I know that there's a lot of stock that goes into that.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing about WAR, and I'm with you there to try to glean exactly or move over to first at Adames, a single one-on-one out. And it's I don't know if it's my understanding, because I'm not sure I understand the whole totality of this thing, but it's my impression that there are different WARs.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And if that's the case, then you know, we're talking about a moving target. Ground ball off the glove of Merrifield into right. There goes Adames headed to third. The Rays are going to get men at first and third. Perez with that ground ball off the glove for another base hit. That's his second hit. Are they going to give? Oh, they're going to give him an error. Yeah, I'd give him a hit, but they're going to give him an error.
Well, you've seen a lot less given hits.
Yeah, and if you don't get the benefit of the doubt of that at home, you're probably not going to get the benefit of the doubt as a hitter. So the Rays still have 9 hits, an error charged to Merrifield. And now Gomez is going to put down the bunt. The Rays trying to get the run home that way with 1 out. Foul ball, strike 1. Yeah, so I don't know where this takes us with the Cy Young Award balloting, but It's pretty amazing.
I'll give you the list. This is the American League top 10 starting pitchers. Chris Sale, Trevor Bauer. This is in WAR. Chris Sale, Trevor Bauer, Garrett Cole, Verlander, Severino, Kluber, Carrasco, Paxton, Clevenger, Snell.
Now the bunt out in front of the plate. That's going to get the run home. Throw to first just in time as Adames scores, and the Rays make it a 3-1 ball game. Well, Gomez the second time got the job done, and it moves Perez up to second.
Almost indefensible, and I'm going to tell you something. That ball almost popped out of the end of Merrifield's glove down there at first base on the throw down. Rays picking up another run right here. Watching Willy Adames see the ball down, attack the plate. Perez only has one play. This ball into the glove and right there to the edge. Well, you get the run home. You also move another guy into scoring position for potentially a 2-out hit.
And we're going to have a pitching change. Call's going to go for the lefty, Tim Hill, presented by the Florida Lottery. Classic, they're loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Claim it. Well, you know, here's the other thing about now and then. Take a look at this. Think about Bob Gibson's year in 1968 and how different his numbers were that year and will never be replicated. Tim Hill, the new pitcher. Gibson was 22-9 that year with a 112 earned run average. He had 28 complete games out of 34 starts and 13 shutouts.
Didn't have enough strikeouts, though.
I mean, yeah.
They really didn't have enough strikeouts.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty amazing. 304 innings, 304 and 2/3, and he had 268 strikeouts.
And that was in an era where everybody tried to put the ball in play.
Yeah.
I mean, no one wanted to strike out. You know, it's different now. The strikeout, you know, by organizations and everything else, it has been so devalued. Guys, you know, you hit 40 home runs and punch out 220 times, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Where back then, you know, guys really fighting to not strike out.
Speaking of home runs, he faced 1,161 hitters that year. 1,161. He gave up 11 home runs. I mean, amazing stuff.
Every 100 hitters, you give up a home run. That's a pretty good ratio. 11 homers given up in 300+ innings.
Yep.
I mean, that's absurdity.
It is. Hey, there's a liner into right from the left-handed bat of Lau over to third, and we're going to have a stop there by Perez. And it'll be first and third. Lau against the lefty picks up his second hit tonight. Rays now in double figures in the hit department. Look where this thing came from.
from down under, and it just never got to the outside corner. Good job by Lau. Matt Quattraro, you see clearly the stop sign on Perez, and that was the right call.
Well, that's just a little comparison, and I don't know that we solved anything. Probably confused ourselves and others more.
Listen, I'm digging into some of these stats.
Yep.
It would be great fodder to talk about, to put out a comparison, and have you take a look at 3 different sets of numbers on pretty standard stuff. Well, you can use win, loss, ERA, strikeouts, all sorts of stuff, and tell me who you would think that would have the highest WAR. And
yeah,
it's extremely interesting. But like I said, there seems to be a big move towards that being the end-all be-all stat, and I'd have a hard time having anybody that watches this game actually tell me that Blake Snell's the 10th best starter in the American League.
Yeah.
And he would, and by the way, and he'd be number 4 for the Tribe.
Yeah, and here's the question. Do you want him on your team at the top of the rotation? Yes. You want that guy.
Right.
Absolutely.
I don't want 9 ahead of him either.
Base hit the other way for Malik Smith. That will get Perez home, and a nice job by Malik. Lau goes to second, an 0-2 pitch. And Malik Smith, who's hit .372 here at home, drives in the run. And the Rays now have a 4-1 lead.
Well, once again, coming from down under, not enough against the 2 lefties. 2 pitches right out over the plate. One to right, this one to left. Another run on the board for the Rays. They start to separate themselves.
Well, another pitching change here. Call to the bullpen. Brought to you by the Florida Lottery. By your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And by your local Honda dealer. Well, the Rays have added a couple runs. They've made it a 4-1 ball game. 2 men on. Jason Hamill, the former Ray, will be the new pitcher. 3rd of the night for Kansas City. He's on to face Matt Duffy. Pitches down. Rays getting a couple of hits from the left-handed bats of Lau and Smith against the lefty Hill. And now it's right on right. Hamill against Duffy. Ball is outside of fastball. 2-0. He starts to go, but checks. 3-0. And a 4-pitch walk to load the bases. So Hamill brought in to match up against a right-handed bat of Duffy. And a 4-pitch walk. Here's that last pitch, and Hamill thought he had a strike there. So the bases are loaded, and the left-handed bat of Ji-Man Choi will step in. Pitch is a strike.
Okay.
Things even out.
Yeah.
Over the long haul.
Or pitch to pitch.
Yeah. Down and in. He checked the time, and it's a ball and a strike. Junis worked 5 2/3, all 4 runs charged to him. He'll face 2 men. 2 of the runners his responsibility, and the other one the walk to Duffy, responsible to Hamill. 1-1 to count to Choi. Fouls it back into the screen. Now 1-2. Hamill fastball at 93. A step back. Hamill. Ground ball, right side, short right. Merrifield's throw to first. It's Choi just in time, and the Rays leave him loaded. They add 2 runs and lead 4-0. Will again be presented by your local Honda dealers. Tyler Glasnow will make that start for the Rays, and we will hear from him on Rays Live, the pregame. Yanni Chirinos Goes back to the mound. He took over in the third, so he has 4 innings of work in so far. And he'll face Salvador Perez. Well, since the Rays gave up 4 runs in the first Saturday to the Red Sox at Fenway, Rays opponents, the Red Sox and the Royals, have scored a total of 3 runs, all on solo home runs, covering 40 innings. Pitch to Perez is upstairs. So the pitching continues to be very good for the Rays. Ground ball shortstop into the glove of Adames. Threw to first in time. 1 out here in the 7th inning. We'll check in with Michelle.
Thanks, Dwayne. Well, Major League Baseball just came out with the 2019 schedules, and the Rays will open up their 2019 season here against the Houston Astros, and then interleague plays against the National League West, and of course the Citrus Series against the Marlins. They have 4 3-city road trips and 2 10-game homestands. So that's a look at the 2019 season, guys.
How could we only have 3 or 4 3-city road trips this year? Aren't we having like 7?
The first 4 of this season were 3-city trips.
So we will have had, when the season's over, 6 or 7 3-city trips.
Still have another one coming up.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Cleveland, Toronto.
So just 4 next year. How'd they work that out?
We've got some interesting trips too.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a, I believe it's a
due to a high popper here, and right there's Duffy waiting.
I believe that we've got a New York to Oakland, and you play the next day, and then after you finish in Oakland, you peel and double back to Minnesota to play the Twins, and then head back to St. Pete.
Yeah, that would be in June.
There you go.
Yep, New York on a Wednesday, play Thursday in Oakland, open a 4-game series, and then to Minneapolis, and we do get a day off
in Minneapolis. How about this one here? We've got 3 off days in the span of like 5 days.
Yeah.
That's in May.
Yeah, within 8 days, 5 games, 3 days off.
Too bad. Be well rested at the end of that little stint.
Yeah, Herrera, 2 strikes to count on him.
It is always fun when the schedule is released and going through all the little quirks and then just figuring out, where you're going to be. Where do you start the season? Where do you end the season?
Well, the Rays will start it at home, as Michelle mentioned, against Houston, and we'll wrap it up against Toronto. That'll be in Toronto. Rays wrap up this year against the Blue Jays, but right here. Counts a ball, 2 strikes to Herrera.
When was the last time that the Rays opened up on the road? I mean, it's been here.
Well, it makes sense to me, though.
Yeah.
I mean, even that early trip we took this year was a little ridiculous with snow in 3 cities. Herrera flies to center. 1, 2, 3 in the 7th inning stretch time. 4-1 Rays.
knows. We talked coming in when he took the mound that his last 3 outings have been at least 5 innings. 1 split there that hung, kind of moved its way right into Merrifield's swing. He was able to bang it off the foul pole. Outside of that, he has been outstanding, showing good velocity with the fastball. Here comes a slider, a split. He's getting some early contact, using his defense. And outside of that home run, that's all the Royals have gotten. Meanwhile, the Rays have started to pull away a little bit and now have got a 3-run lead.
There's a swing and a miss by C.J. Cron. Missed the slider from Jason Hamill. Four runs off Junis. In 5 2/3, Hill and now Hamill. Hamill gave up a walk and got a ground ball out to end the 6th inning. And a popper going to be out of play. We had a swing and a miss. Cron out on strikes. First strikeout for the Kansas City bullpen. Kevin Kiermaier. A 2-hit night for Kiermaier, 2 for 3. After the first pitch, fouling that one out of play. Pitch is down. Had a check swing, 1-1. Two and one. Chopper foul, 2-2. Bit low, had a check swing by Kiermaier. So he's worked the count full now.
Well, 2-2 off speed, Dwayne below the zone, and let's take a look. Good hold.
And there's ball 4. Hamill gives up a walk here, 1 on, 1 out.
Now, Dwayne, the big story here up to Fenway. The Indians have taken 2 in a row off of the Red Sox, but here already up 3-2. Benintendi going down into the corner and clearing the bases, chasing Carlos Carrasco. That would give the Red Sox a 6-2 lead. Edwin Encarnacion would homer for the Indians, and now 6-4 as we get later into that game. The Indians have won the first 2 games of that series. The Yankees have won, so they've started to tighten up the division a little bit. least gotten it back into the single digits.
Yep. What were they, 8 back?
I think so.
Yep. Yeah, they started the day 8 back.
They're up. Yankees are up over
And
team from South Florida.
7 in the loss column. So who knows? I mean, stranger things have happened, but well, when we saw that Boston club, they looked insurmountable.
Well, and the Yankees, all of a sudden, Aroldis Chapman onto the DL. Got a little knee issue.
Here's a look at the standings right now. There it goes. Pitch fouled out of play by Adames, and it goes to 0-2. West Houston moved back into first by a game over Oakland. Houston beat Seattle 10-7, and the Rangers beat the A's in Oakland 4-2. Up the middle, backhanded, out at second, and that's the only one they get. Merrifield to Escobar. 4-6 on the put out. Adames reaches on a fielder's choice.
This is a nice play by Merrifield going up the middle with the backhand on the shortstop side of the bag, and then a good flip there to Escobar. I came close to not getting to that bag. Ooh, short, and then slid that right foot into the back edge just in time.
Runner goes. The pitch is a ball. Throw is in time. Adames caught stealing. And that's going to retire the side. I think Adames thought he might have gotten in there, but here is the peg down by Perez. It's 4-1 at the end of 7. We go to the 8th inning. 4-1. The Rays lead. Couple runs in the second, 2 in the 6th. Yonny Chirinos out there on the hill. And the pitch is too low. Ryan O'Hearn leading it off. He has a double tonight. 2 balls, no strikes. Dozier will be next. And then Phillips, Kolarek up in the bullpen again. It's been Stanek and Chirinos so far. And a base hit through the right side. Rays had the infield shifted around there, and O'Hearn gets it through and has a base hit. So all 3 hits collected off Chirinos. 2 perfect innings as the opener for Ryan Stanek tonight. Here's Hunter Dozier. Dozier twice has struck out, facing Chirinos for the 3rd time. Pitch is down. No ball, no strikes. Falls behind 2-0, and he'll get a visit from Perez. 79 pitches for Chirinos. He made 88 pitches in 6 innings on Friday against the Red Sox. So after that mound visit, Perez settles in behind the plate. Well, the left-handed bat of Phillips on deck. There's a foul ball. So Kolarek, who is sufficiently warm, standing on the mound watching the action right now. There's Phillips.
Kolarek has been participating for the last 3 half innings, so he making himself available, ready. Guys, I'm still down here.
Yeah, that's after he pitched last night.
Yeah,
he's already pitched more tonight than he did last night. That foul ball is going to be out of play and will even the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This is really where you get into rationing. You know, your pitch is down there. First, you're going to get up, you're going to get loose, you're getting ready to go in the game. And then all of a sudden, if it's going to be delayed a little bit, you're going to stand off. You haven't seen him throw yet. So all of a sudden, as he feels like maybe I need to toss one in here, I'll do that. If it feels good, I may hold up and just wait a little bit longer. Last thing you want to do is waste them all down in the pen.
Shot straight away center field. Kiermaier will go back, and that ball is out of here. Home run to center field. Dozier's 6th home run. And just like that, 2 runs across the plate, and it's a 1-run game. So Dozier celebrating his 27th birthday with a line drive home run to center, and that's going to be it for Chirinos. So 2 home runs allowed by Chirinos. All 3 runs called to the bullpen, brought to you by the Florida Lottery. By AWS, the home run, the dead center off the bat of Hunter Dozier. 424. The distance on that one. Adam Collaרי into this game now to face Brett Phillips. The first pitch is too close. 5 innings plus for Chirinos. And Collaric's on for the 14th time. Pitched an inning last night, gave up a couple hits. Double barrel action in the bullpen. Rowe, the righty. Alvarado, the lefty. Ground ball back to the mound. Collarig halfway to first, and then the toss. Phillips is retired. That'll be the first out.
Yep.
Kevin Cash with an eye toward the bullpen just to check on the progress down there. And Alcides Escobar has been announced. Perez taking a little time with that new baseball into play, and here comes Cash. So he's going to make another call to the bullpen, brought to you by the Florida Lottery. Third of an inning for Collarig. Back in a moment. By W.B. Mason. Rich and Arrest is again anchoring the coverage. We'll have the Kevin Cash press conference and the minor league reports from around the Rays farm system. Kevin Cash going to the bullpen again for Chaz Rowe. One out, base is empty, and Rowe, who pitched an inning last night, makes his 46th appearance.
Well, 45 strikeouts, 38 2/3 innings, holding the opponents to a 193 average.
Alcides Escobar goes after the first one and sends a fly ball back into left field, and that's going to one-hop that low wall, and Escobar has himself a two-base hit, representing the potential tying run at second base.
You know, when you think about Chaz Rowe, first thing you think about is that nasty, devastating slider that he has. But he will try to steal strikes with the fastball, and that one right there just kind of stayed out over the heart of the plate. Unfortunately for the Rays, Escobar not able to get this one out of the yard. One hops the low wall.
And Escobar has been one of the hot hitters recently. He'd hit over 300 in the last 10 games. Now it doubled here in the 8th. And the first pitch to Merrifield is a strike. And here's the other guy who's been hot. The 8th leading hitter in the American League has already homered off the foul pole down the left field side. Pitch away, 1-1. Here's the home run right down the line, and it strikes the pole. It's 2-1. Escobar with speed aboard at second. Strike. 2-2.
Well, you're not getting Merrifield to bite on those sliders working their way off the plate, so you start changing your target area. And for Chaz Rowe, if you're going to keep that slider on the plate, you got to start it in off. Now you can think about expanding once again if you go with the breaking ball.
The 2-2. Strike three call. How about that? He started it at him.
Right at him.
Got the call, third strike.
Right at him. Boy, this freezes a hitter. Right at that front hip, and it just locks him.
So that's the second out of the inning. And that's going to be it for Chaz Rowe with the left-handed bat of Alex Gordon. Due another call to the bullpen, brought to you by the Florida Lottery. Rays pitcher of the night. He enters a one-run game, 2 gone in the 8th, with Escobar, the potential tying run at second. Alvarado on to match up against the veteran left-handed bat of Alex Gordon.
Well, that's what it has become for Kevin Cash. Matchups the rest of the way. You got 4 outs to get.
To turn, nothing doing back there. Gordon with 3 fly ball outs tonight. He fouls it, strike 1. 1 for 4 in the game last night. And 1 for 4 in the game here on Monday. The fastball, that one missed just upstairs. 1-1. Stanek for 2, Chirinos 5+, Kolarek a third, Rowe a third, and now in the hands of Alvarado. Fouls it back, runs the fastball up and in at 97.
Boy, did you see how quickly that got in on the thumbs of Alex Gordon as he goes to swing thinking he's going to be able to drive this pitch. Watch it take off. Look at that thing running in. I mean, he's staring out there like, really? You're not supposed to have that kind of run on 97.
And a swing and a miss at 98 in, and he strikes out Gordon. 2-run score on the home run. The potential tying run left at second. Here's the strikeout pitch. We go to the bottom of the 8th, 4-3 Rays. Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon weekdays from 9:30 a.m. to noon Eastern, only on FS1. Back at Tropicana Field, ball game moves into the bottom of the 8th inning. Michael Perez will be the first man to face Jason Hamill. Perez, Gomez, and Lau. And the pitch is a ball, a fastball from the veteran right-hander. Hamill originally in the big leagues with the Rays in 06. Into Colorado, Baltimore, the Cubs, Oakland, the Cubs again, and now Kansas City. And there's a take by Perez. 1-1. On deck, Gomez. Rays would like to get something going here and add to this one-run margin. Now 2-1. Rays got 4 runs in 5 2/3 off the starting pitcher Jacob Junis. Tim Hill was on for a couple of innings, and now Jason Hamill to this point An even-toed performance by Hamill out of the bullpen. And a little tapper foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Perez with 2 runs scored. Singled and scored in the second, reached on an error and scored in the 6th inning. And has worked the count full. Rays have out hit Kansas City 11-5. But Kansas City scored 2 in the 8th to make it a 1-run game. There's a shot into right field. Herrera, though, back just as he approached the track. He made the catch. Ball popped away from him, but when he was taking it out of the glove. So that's a catch on a hard hit ball by Perez.
Well, Herrera had him played very well, playing deep out there in right field, so didn't have to track that one very far. Starting to see Sergio Romo down in that Rays bullpen start to stir a little bit.
It's interesting. They have Perez, the right-handed hitter, due to lead off the 9th. And then the left-handed hitting Duda, followed by Herrera, switch hitter. Look out. That pitch up and in. And Gomez, who's already been hit 20 times, just avoided being hit that time. This ball right up and in on him.
See how he starts to dive, and when those balls, they start to close on him, that's where he ends up getting clipped a lot of times.
Fouls it back. Again, a fastball in.
The only problem with those fastballs is that Salvador Perez is setting up away.
Fly short center. That's going to fall for a base hit. Big turn by Gomez. Decides to hang on as Phillips came up with the ball in center field with a look toward first. And Gomez is on base with his 2nd hit tonight. Rays have a dozen hits in the game.
That slider right off the end of the bat, that kind of takes the sting out, and that's what allows it to drop in. Little flutter. Phillips realizing he's not going to get there in time, and that second bounce is what got Gomez thinking maybe 2.
Brandon Lau, there goes Gomez on the first pitch, and he's in with a stolen base. Lau takes the pitch for a strike, and for Gomez, it's steal number 10 on the year.
Boy, that delivery by Hamill was almost as if Gomez wasn't even on. Paid him no attention at all, and that is about as easy as you're going to get a stolen base.
Yeah, that delivery somewhat docile from Hamill. The pitch is down. 1 ball, 1 strike. Man at second with 1 away, and boy, the Rays would like to pick up another run here. A turn, but nothing doing back there. Foul ball off a fastball up. Lau, who came into the game with 3 hits, has 2 tonight. And with it, 2 runs batted in. There's Romo down in the bullpen up the right side. swing and a miss on that one. So Lau's out of there, missed the breaking pitch.
Curveball gets a lot of depth with it. Able to sneak it under the swing, and now it's up to Malik Smith. And then, you know what? If he wants to keep up, we talked about it in that scouting report, 5 of his last 6 games has had at least 2 hits. Make it 6 out of 7 and give yourself some breathing room.
Well, he drove in a run with a base hit in the 6th. Takes the pitch away. 1-0. Retired in the 5th on a good catch by Gordon, Alex Gordon in left. And a liner base hit into center. Gomez will head to the plate. Throw will come through, and it's wide, going to the backstop. Big turn at second by Malik Smith, who drives in another run, and the Rays lead 5-3. How about that from Alex? Second run batted into the night.
That's a big run. It looks like it's going to be a cutter or a hard slider, and Malik gets right down to it, middle of the field. I thought this ball got out into center so quickly that Brett Phillips was going to have a chance at Gomez. He charges it, but the throw, he just yanks it. Not even close.
Alex continues to wear out that bat. Rays now with 13 hits and a 2-run lead. Matt Duffy at the plate. A ground ball right side. In there for a base hit, and here comes Malik. He will score. The Rays with 2 outs pick up 2 runs and build a 6-3 lead.
That is vintage Matt Duffy. Let that fastball get into the zone and then shoot it the other way.
Runs, 14 hits. Second hit for Duffy tonight. G-Man Choi at the plate. And he takes ball 1. Pitch is wide. 2-0. It's McCarthy up in the bullpen. Kevin McCarthy, he was in the game for an inning last night. Now a strike, 2-1. Even the count, 2-2. Two runs, 3 hits in the inning. Here goes Duffy, and the pitch hit on the ground to the left side. Throw to first in time. And the Rays are out in the 8th. That goes 5-3. It's a 6-3 ball game. finish. The Rays picking up a couple of big runs in the bottom of the 8th. Malik Smith coming through with that line single, driving in one. Matt Duffy followed with a base hit the other way, chasing home Malik Smith as the Rays scored 2 runs on 3 hits in the 8th to rebuild a 3-run lead, now 6-3. Rays have out hit Kansas City 14-5. Alex with a couple of runs batted in. Duffy with 1. Gomez 1. Brandon Lau with 2. Sergio Romo, the new pitcher for the Rays here in the 9th, on for the 61st time. Here's Perez going after the first pitch, lofting a high fly to right. Gomez into shallow right for it. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Well, Perez, he has been very aggressive all series long, often going after that first pitch. And right there, pretty good for Sergio Romo. Anybody, really. Hey, you know this guy wants to swing the bat. So 1 pitch, 1 out. Here we go.
Now Lucas Duda at the plate. Romo out there looking to close it out. He has 17 saves. Duda looks at 1 wide. Chirinos in a position to pick up a win for the 5+ innings he worked. It's 2-0. Last night, Romo came in, faced the bottom part of the order. Here's a strike, 2-1. He faced Herrera. Duda hitting down in the lineup last night. When he faced him, he walked Duda and then gave up a double to Escobar, but finished with strikeouts of O'Hearn and Mondesi. 1 out as he pitches to Duda and picks up strike number 2 to even the count at 2-2. He's trying to go 5 over 500 for the first time this year. Here's Herrera on deck. And that's going to take us to 3-2. Kansas City cut the deficit to 1, made it a 4-3 game in the top of the 8th, but the Rays answered with 2 of their own. Dozier's home run made it a 1-run game. Ground ball right back to the mound, and the toss to first. And the broken bat comebacker, Romo takes care of Duda. 2 outs, bases empty. Rosell Herrera is on his way to the plate. Switch hitting outfielder. Herrera 0 for 3 tonight. 1 of his last 19. Is a ball too low. It's foul the other way. 1-1. Two balls and a strike.
Some disgust shown there by Romo, just missing with a couple of pitches here to Herrera. It's been an interesting year for Sergio. Starting out, member of that bullpen, getting a couple opening opportunities. Alex Colomé traded. He then becomes the closer.
It's a line drive, and it's over the head of the leaping Lau and into right field. A hot shot base hit for Herrera. Boy, he hit that ball extremely well.
Well, you fall behind in the count, and if you're going to come with that breaking ball, it moves right into the swing here of Herrera, and he just spanks it out into right field. That's why Sergio was so angry about those two misses, because all of a sudden you get ahead of Herrera, then you can backdoor the breaking ball. You can go with the changeup, which he likes to do to lefties.
Now he has to face Ryan O'Hearn. The first pitch is down. Romo struck out O'Hearn last night when he got the final 2 outs via the strikeout to close out a 4-1 score. Now it's 6-3. And a strike at the knees. 1-1.
Well, you'll take that. You got to get back into this count now. You even it up. You think about O'Hearn and Dozier. Both of these guys have flashed their power in this series, so they're both more than capable. Got to make good pitches.
Runner breaks, a swing and a miss, and no throw as Herrera winds up at second.
And there's that changeup we were talking about to get to 2 strikes. And now you put yourself in the driver's seat. Could be down to your last pitch.
Here we go, 1-2, and that's down. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Romo got the first 2. Herrera scorched one into right for a base hit. Moved to second on indifference. The 2-2. Ground ball. That's going to be gloved by Duffy, and the throw to first. Not in time. Throw to the plate. He is out there, and that's the way this one ends. Herrera came all the way around trying to score, and he is out. How about that? 3-6-2 on the final out.
And what are you thinking?
Yep.
I mean, what are you thinking if you're Herrera? You could get Dozier to the plate, the tying run. Great effort here by Matt Duffy. The throw's not going to be in time, but Herrera is going to challenge Crone for no reason whatsoever. And it's not even close.
So Herrera, a mistaken judgment there to end this ball game. Rays win it 6-3. They go 5 over. It's 66-61. The Rays are winners 6-3. Chirinos will pick up the victory. Eunice, the losing pitcher. For Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stantz, hope you've enjoyed the telecast as the Rays come away with another victory. Rays Live, the postgame comes your way next. We'll see you tomorrow night.